Welcome to today's live. Experientially see your thoughts for what they are. If you're here live, please say hi in the chat. And if you have any questions or comments while we're together, please put them in the chat. If you're watching this on replay, please put in hashtag replay. I love knowing that you were here. And also any comments, questions at any time, and I will answer them. So let's see if there's Sue's here. Yay, Sue. Hello, Sue. Sharon's here. Hi, Sharon. So happy both of you are here. So I'm Peggy O'Neill. I am the founder of Answering the Call and the creator of Wisdomary Leading, where what we're doing is knowing, realizing, and living who we truly are, which is one being. Another name for that is awareness, consciousness, source. God's infinite being is the religious name. And as we know who we truly are, we also get curious about, well, and then how do I want to express this in the world? How do I want to live that? And so we also explore that. And today specifically, we're going to look at what role thoughts play in all of this about who we are and how we want to live. So this is going to be experiential. I'm going to talk some, but then I'm going to invite you to do a few things throughout our time together so that you can experience and it's called self-inquiry, do some self-inquiry sort of exploration that can help you understand more the thoughts that appear to us. So you might notice I said that, thoughts that appear to us. So our language says we have thoughts. So we can start noticing that our conditioning has determined a great deal about our relationship with thoughts and what we probably, for most of us, unconsciously think of as thoughts, because most of us have probably never really thought about it. We might have been coached somewhere along the line, or like me, I've had lots of coaching training, how to coach, and we were taught about helping people change their thoughts. Well, come to find out, that's just impossible. So we're going to look at that some. We can't change our thoughts. First, when we know who we truly are, awareness, one being, there's no separate self to change thoughts. Again, we have thoughts. What does that imply? That somehow I own them. Somehow they're mine. Again, back to there's some self that has thoughts, that owns them, that can control them, do something with them. And that's just totally inaccurate. So let's look some more at the nature of thoughts and what we do with thoughts. So we identify with those. So we think we have them. Okay. Then we also identify with them. We say things throughout our whole lives. We'll say, I am Peggy. So I am is the experience that we all have, that we exist. We've said that our whole lives. I am Peggy. I am whatever. So we start with that because there is this sense that there is something here that exists. That's accurate. But then we start adding things like I am Peggy. Okay, that's a name. Okay, but what is that? Or we say I am a girl, or I am a good student, or I am smart, or I'm not so smart, or I'm a failure, or I am a mother, or I am a father, or I am a child, I am a researcher, on and on and on. We end that sentence over and over and over again with all of these labels. They're labels. And we start identifying with those labels. So we think we are those labels. Again, most of us haven't really thought about it, but that's the result of relating to ourselves in those ways. Or I am tired. I am selfish. I am lonely. So then we start believing that that's who we are. That's how life is. That's how life is for us. Instead, what's really happening when those thoughts appear is just that. They are appearing. They're appearing. We don't have them. They're not in our brain. We've been taught that our brain creates these thoughts, or that they come from our mind, from this brain in our head. The mind in our head is how we talk about it. It comes from, our thoughts come from our head, our brain, but they don't. That's a concept we've been taught. It's not accurate. And we can find that out for ourselves. So, as most of you have heard me say over and over again, don't believe anything I say. That's worthless. It's not helpful at all. What is helpful is to examine. I wonder what she's saying. I wonder if that's true. Do I have thoughts? You could ask yourself that. Start looking. Do I have thoughts? Like owning them, like I have a car. Do I have thoughts? Do I have some container over here with thoughts? It's interesting. So, and then I just said they appear. So, so I'm going to invite you to notice the next thought that you have. Okay, I'm going to assume you have one now. And then, of course, then I just said that you have one now. So for a second, you have one. All right. So a thought came to you. A thought appeared to you. Now, look to see if you can find where that thought came from. And by now, you've had another thought. So there's a thought there. Now, look. Follow the path. Where did that thought come from? Anybody? Let's see. I'll see if anybody's answering that question online. Okay, no, not so far. So, so you might notice as you start. Of course, our more thoughts are going to appear that try to tell you where the thought came from. Like, even though I just said that our thoughts don't come from our brain, you might have, the first thought that might have appeared to you is, well, they come from my brain, because we've been conditioned to believe that. So we've been conditioned to notice thoughts that align with what we believe. So that thought might have come to you as you are exploring, where did that thought come from? But that's just another thought about where the thought came from. What we're doing right now is looking in our experience, our direct experience, which most of us are not used to doing. So this could be a bit strange. Of course, if you've attended these regularly, then it's probably not so strange. But to look, where is that thought coming from? Now, what I'm about to say is not really useful, but for purposes of this, I'll go ahead and tell you. So you probably noticed you can't find where it came from. Now, I encourage you to keep doing this exploration, and don't do this as a one-off, because a one-off, after many years of believing they came from your brain and believing you have thoughts, and that's how people talk and that's how you think about it, one time of looking is not enough. You keep looking until at some point it really clicks for you. Oh, yeah, I have no idea where thoughts come from. Till it really clicks, it sinks in. Like you learn to ride a bike, you might have some ability, some sense of riding a bike the first time, but you have to keep doing it until one day it clicks. And now I'm just naturally riding a bike. Same thing here. So you keep looking. Okay, then another thing is, like I said, we say I am whatever a lot. And so what you can do is explore that. Look into that. So I am a failure. Really? Is that true? Because you can probably some contradictory thoughts will then appear. So isn't that interesting? I had a thought I'm a failure, and then I have another thought, well, wait, here's an example of where I was really successful. That can help us also start not identifying with our thoughts, believing we are our thoughts, because we can see, oh, they're contradictory. So I can't be these thoughts, because I can only be what's consistent. Who I truly am has to be something consistent, not something that's always changing. So we identify with these thoughts, then we can start undermining that belief by looking into it like this. They're always changing. They contradict themselves. So maybe I don't need to pay any attention to them. That's the biggest gift any of us could ever give ourselves. Pay no attention to any thoughts that have anything to do with anything about us or our behavior. Now, that being said, in a judgmental way. So I could think something like maybe I just yelled at somebody, just came out, I yelled at somebody. So I could think, oh, might be useful not to do that again. But that's not a judgment about who I am in that. So, yes, we can have thoughts can appear that are giving us information, some understanding, but I'm not referencing those. I'm talking about those sorts of thoughts that tell us something about who we are, how we're doing, whether we're good, bad, those sorts of things. So we totally ignore those thoughts. So what ideas are coming to you all about the kinds of thoughts that you have? Well, let's see. Sharon has said, oh, this is back to the question of where do thoughts come from. She said, I don't know. It just popped into my head. Okay, yeah, they just appear. And it feels, yeah, we can say it popped into my head. Okay, but you can check in your experience. Did it really pop in my head? Or And then Sharon also says, a thought can quickly lead to another thought and another thought just to justify the first thought down the rabbit hole I go. That's great, Sharon. Exactly. There's a thought that appears and then another thought goes with it. I mean, it still happens to me where I'll have a thought about something and then I'll relax the focus of attention so I'm not paying any attention to it. But then another thought will come, but you better pay attention to this. You need to worry about this. It just goes on and on. And and then down the rabbit hole until we relax the focus of attention and stay there long enough that those thoughts then start fading way off into the distance. Sue, your senses cannot find thoughts. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, that's accurate. Let's see. Our senses cannot find thoughts. Yeah. So sight, smell, taste, touch. What's the other one? Hear. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Excellent. All right. Let's see. Also, our thoughts want to take us to the past or to the future. Thoughts do that because thoughts don't know the present. Of course, all this language is inaccurate, but we have to talk about it in some way in order to point to these things so that we can become aware of them and they don't have us anymore. And so we're aware of what's occurring. But so it's actually thoughts aren't trying to take us. That's just what occurs. Thoughts are about the past. Thoughts are about the future. Why? Because thoughts are arising on behalf of a separate self that doesn't exist. Now, in our experience, there is an existence here. It's just not what we think we are. We're not our thoughts. We're not our bodies. We're not our feelings. We're not our beliefs, which are thoughts. So when we're noticing thoughts, the thoughts are about the past. They're about the future. So, and yet all there is the present. So it's another reason not to allow our thoughts. Sorry, there's nobody to allow anything, but that's another reason to then relax the focus of attention from thoughts so we're here in the present. Now, this is where it can be a little confusing. I've been hanging out with some other non-dual coaches and people, and so this is not just a Peggy challenge here, but we were talking the other day in a meeting that there almost needs to be another word for the kinds of thoughts that appear to us that aren't related to the past or the future or this idea of a separate self. Because there are, that seems like they're thoughts, right? A creative idea, something related to the present that can actually appear to us when we're not focused on the thoughts about the past and the future. So they're just another version of a thought. And maybe this group of people, maybe we'll come up with a different word for that. So there are different thoughts that will appear and have the opportunity to appear when we're not focused on thoughts related to the past or to the future. Let's see. Oh, another thing relative to beliefs and what we've been told about thoughts, that we can change thoughts. Okay. Well, if we can change thoughts, we must be able to control them, right? So I'm going to invite you right now to notice another thought that comes to you and then hold on to it. And by hold on to it, I don't mean keep repeating it. I don't mean like, um, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. No, hold on to just the very first thought of that comes to you, and see if you can hold on to it. Yeah, we can't hold on to it. That might tell us we can't control our thoughts. So trying to change them is a waste of time. Now, what can happen is a thought can come to us, I'm a failure. We can notice that because we're aware of everything we're talking about here. Relax the focus of attention. And it's possible that another thought could appear that is the opposite of that, that's more like a supportive thought. And but we didn't change the thought. It was just through the activity of observing, relaxing the focus of attention, our attention can go to something else. So we're not actually changing thoughts. Now, we are influenced by everything all the time. So right now we're all being influenced. I'm influenced by this experience, what Sharon and Sue are saying, and just doing this. And you're being influenced by hearing this and watching this. So we're always being influenced. So also what we read, what we listen to, what we other words that we see, like, yeah, so what we read, or what else with thoughts. Yeah, so it's mainly reading and what we're listening to, watching, that can influence our thoughts. So if we're always reading something negative, or hanging out with people who talk negatively all the time, then that's going to be the thoughts that are going to get our attention, because our attention, it's one of the beauties of the human experience, is this attention. Our attention goes to various things. It also means that we can relax the attention. We don't have to stay focused on something. We can relax our attention, open our attention, but our attention will keep going to the bright shiny objects, or to whatever else, wherever our attention goes. And so if we want to be supporting ourselves to be able to pay more attention to more positive thoughts, or be influenced more in that sort of direction, then if it comes to us to do so, we can read things that that are positive, that have those phrases and words that are ones we'd more often like to hear or see. So we can actually influence what we pay attention to by reading different things, listening to different things. And because we don't have control of any of that, what we do, you may or may not do that after this. But if you're thinking, oh, that's a good idea, I think I'll do that. Well, then you might write it down right now and then put it on a post-it note somewhere, so that you are more likely to remember it. So we can do that. We can do things that help us remember and focus. All right, so I'm going to see if there are any questions or other comments. Let's see. Okay, Sharon, there are no present thoughts. Yeah. Hmm. I don't know about that. I think, like I said, the thoughts that are telling us about ourselves, like you're a failure, obviously that has to be based on something from the past. It's taking us to the past. Or oh, you can really succeed at this, obviously that's taking me to the future. But if I'm really in the present, and I'm not, which we are always in the present, but I mean, if I'm not focused on thoughts that are in the past, thoughts in the future, I'm really open right now, then I do believe thoughts appear right now that can be about right now. I'm not describing right now. I'm not talking about that, because then once we're describing, then that's going to be based on the past. But I'm talking about things like those ideas, those creative ideas that you have all the time, Sharon, that come out of the blue. I'm going to say those are present thoughts. If you have another opinion, put it in there. Let's go back and forth about this. Okay, and then Sharon also says there are nudges, hints in the present. Most definitely. Sue Swift Evans says, "Boom, gone." Okay, I don't know. Now I don't know what we were talking about that you said that, but I like it. All right, and then Sharon says, "No, I can't hold." Oh, that's what you're talking about, Sue. That you can't hold a thought. Yeah, boom, gone. Can't hold a thought. There you go. There's no way to hold on to it. And then Sharon, no, I can't hold a thought. Thoughts are fleeting like a breeze that arises. I can't hold that breeze either. Yeah, that's a great analogy. Yeah, we can't hold on to it. Sue, people change environments to change influences. Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, and that can be very useful. Um, Now, what is not useful is thinking that the environment is the problem. Like, oh well, if I change the environment, then I'll be happy. But if I'm aware of everything I'm talking about today, and that may be what you're referencing, Sue, that when we're aware of everything that we're talking about today, we go, oh my gosh, now that I see what's actually happening and how I'm influenced and who I want to be in the world, I'm leaving this environment and I'm going to make sure that the next place I work or the next relationship that I'm going to be really sensitive to, is this environment aligned with who I truly am and how I want to live. So it's probably the way that you meant that, but that's a great example of making sure that we have around us and we stay in the experience of how we want to live. Okay, so I had a couple of experiential exercises. The whole time wasn't fully experiential, except maybe for what came to you as you're looking at your thoughts and beliefs and what you might have experienced as we're talking about that. So the main thing from today is to continue to pursue what we did today. So I just really encourage you to, when a thought appears, that you ask yourself, oh, where did that come from? And look for it. Don't be a smart student. Okay, well, I did this today, so now I understand my thoughts, or sorry, it's not my thoughts, the thoughts appear out of nowhere. Okay, well, if we continue to identify with them, if we continue to believe them, then that's telling us that we didn't get this conversation. Doesn't mean you didn't get it intellectually. It just means you didn't get it in an understanding, realization, knowing kind of way. You didn't do anything wrong, but this is not an intellectual exercise. It's an experiential. So you just keep looking. Oh, where is that thought coming from? Can I find that? So you keep that up. You also watch how you end your sentences. I am. And I encourage you to, if the word that comes out doesn't align with who you truly are, that you change the sentence while you're talking. Oh, wait, I don't mean that. I am whatever that aligns with who you truly are, and pay attention to what's influencing you, and then and then you can play with it. You can't hold on to your thoughts. That becomes more real. All right, Sharon and Sue, any other thoughts or questions? Okay, I think that's it for today. Went a little long, but thank you for being here, and yeah, that really allowing ourselves to know, oh, I'm not my thoughts. I'm not even my thoughts. I'm not these thoughts. That's not who I am. Who I am is awareness, consciousness, source, God's infinite being, infinite intelligence, infinite wisdom. That's who I am. I'm not thoughts. Thoughts are like clouds, they come and go, or like Sharon said, they're like a breeze that arises and disappears. You're welcome, Sue. Thank you for being here. Thank you too, Sharon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.